There it is. All right. Fighting the computer this afternoon and finally logging in. So, how are you this evening? Hopefully, you are watching the replay with the excitement of doing some Beatles music. This is Jolly Roger Book Members Group, and tonight we're going to do 3 Beatles tunes. Having a hard time talking. I have been sick as a dog for weeks now. Not weeks, many days. A week and a half now. Finally able to breathe, sort of, and delighted to be here. Missed last week. Let's see. Tonight we're going to play I Want to Hold Your Hand, and then I want to play Imagine, and then we have a new arrangement out of In My Life, and so we're going to work on that just a little bit. And Jennifer is in. Ugh, not fun. I know, right? These days, I've had several people send me emails and say, hey, you're sure you're not, like, go to the doctors kind of sick? People think, you can't, back in the day, if you got sick and you stayed home, people thought you were weak. These days, you better go to the doctor pretty quick or you're going to, we got these superbugs going around. They've been terrible. So, hello, everybody. LG is here. Good to see you. KMOS is in. KMOS, live from Florida. And so we're going to be playing those 3 tunes, and I was playing them earlier today, and I'm just delighted with these arrangements. So I hope you guys are having fun with them. And let me pull up my little Beatles stuff, and let's see what we can do with them tonight. Some of the times when I do arrangements, they're fine, right? They're fine. But these somehow, I don't know, somehow these feel really, really like you'd want to play them for other people kind of thing. And so I hope you're having a good time with them. I have not loaded in the new ones in here, so let me go grab those. In My Life took a lot more work than I thought it was going to. And so what are you going to do, right? Let's see. My computer is freaking out. Honest to God, you can let me in, I promise. I paid my due. Let's see. I've been so ill that I haven't even been able to keep up with the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra, and so I don't even know what those guys are up to lately. So I got to go back and look at all of the videos of those. Can you believe that? Keep right up with that stuff. Let's see. Elizabeth is in. Hey, Elizabeth. Critter's here. You got the crud too, huh? Yeah. And hey, Rita. Yeah, it's crazy. I barely leave the house. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know anybody. I don't have anything going on around here. But I did have a couple medical appointments, and I'm positive that's where I got sick from. So that's, what are you gonna do? Gotta go see. And they were silly doctor's appointments, getting lab work and that kind of stuff done. So, all right, let me get these into my computer here in the correct way. And I have a bad habit of just playing from my laptop and not putting them in here correctly. Okay, there's that. And then one last step, add them in over here. If you haven't decided that iPad's the way to go. iPad's the way to go. All right. Let's see. First up. Hey, Alexis. Thank you for reminding me it's Alexis. I see this list of letters, and I'm like, oh, I know that. Who that is. I got a haircut. I have been having to keep my hair incredibly short because some of you know I had some melanoma on the top of my head and had a very exciting and super fun surgery around that. And then they're checking it all the time, so I keep my hair short. Plus, I have to wear a hat basically every time I think about going outside, so it's just sort of easier to keep my hair short. I look ridiculous, but whatever. Nobody's looking at me anyway, so looks good. You're sweet. Okay, let's play some music. We're not here to talk about Gary. We are here to play, and I'm gonna pull up this real quick. I Want to Hold Your Hand. Let's play the ukulele version first, and I'm still playing off of the first version, so Let me turn this off. I have my alarm set so to remind me to go look at the sunset at this time of night. We've been having some pretty crazy sunsets down here, so. All right. Am I in tune? Sounds like I'm in tune. All right, that's it. Okay, I want to hold your hand. As always online, we don't play fast, right? I don't play fast because, well, lots of reasons, but mainly we want to try to stick together. You play if chords, melody, whatever. And as you remember, if you have a baritone in your lap, you are on chords, and you just have to play your correct chord shapes. I'm on ukulele right now. I'm going to play the tough uke as best I can. You're going to do what you can, and I will see you at the bottom of the song. Play down to measure 12, go back to measure 1. Come back down, go to the second ending, so skip over 12 the second time, go all the way down to 24, and then go at the end of 24, we go back to the top, come down to measure 10. I hope you have the coda highlighted in yellow there at the end of measure 10, and we jump over and we wrap up in measure 25. All right, let's see if we can get it done. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. I think I was holding my breath the whole entire time. All right. Whew, we made that one. That wasn't actually terrible, right? It was pretty close to what's written, and feel okay about that. As always, you make mistakes, right? You kind of blow things along the way. The hardest thing I think for us at any level, especially beginner, but even as you've been playing a while, you hit those mistakes and you're like, oh man, I wish I could go back and fix that one note. And you can't. You're not supposed to. All right, now we'll switch to the baritone version. And is that what I was playing? I want to hold. Yeah, that was what I was playing off of. Oh, there you go. Oh, I see what I did. Duh. All right. I can get rid of the old version now. All right, so baritone version. I want to hold your hand. Got my highlights in there correctly. All right. Same exact tablature. Deeper tone. And those of you on ukulele, you have your standard chords, so you can play whatever type of accompaniment makes me sound good, right? Your job is to make me sound good. Your job is to cover up my mistakes. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. play the whole thing with my thumb. I like to mix it up a little bit, but when something's working, just let it ride, right? Just play with it, man. It's cool. All right, that sounds okay. So we'll put that piece into dry dock now, and we will be having probably when we get through it, all of the Beatles tunes, we'll have one night where we'll invite everybody. We'll play through all 20 songs. How long do you think that would take us? I don't know. Can't do it on both instruments, but we could do them all. We could do them all one night and then all the next night. So be working on all of them, right? Don't work on anything beyond this, beyond what's posted, because I want it to be a surprise. All right, let's see what's going on here. Used to love fall in Las Vegas or Las Cruces. Yeah, Elizabeth lived down here in New Mexico for a long time, so she knows what I'm dealing with. Featuring DVDs and Strawberry Fields. Yeah, I was reading. Something came up on my Google. You know how when you Google something and then all of a sudden Google thinks that you want to know everything there is to know about a topic, and it was something about the song that John hated the most, and I was like, I wonder which one he hated the most. And I had heard it before, but it wasn't one that was very well known. And so now Google thinks I want to know everything about the Beatles as well. All right. Imagine Ukulele. Now I played this a bunch today. I'm finding it better in claw position, but you guys do you, right? I mean, the whole thing felt like I'm just going to play this with my claw. I mean, I have a tendency, like most of you, to over thumb everything, but I do think the thumb has a place when we're playing this style because it just sounds amazing. It sounds really great. But I also think there are plenty of times when you want to be thinking, I should be using this more sophisticated approach. And, you do you. You play however you want. All right. Baritone players, these are pretty, you got F chord in there. That's a bar for you. But other than that, everything is in your wheelhouse. So when you see C major 7, I talk about this once in a while. When you see one of these chords with about 12 different words after it and all these numbers and all this other nonsense that comes with it, if you don't know those, if you haven't looked them up and haven't memorized, just play the main chord. It's either a C major or a C minor or an F major or an F minor, whatever it says. The ones that matter are the major, the minor, and the 7th. And if there's other stuff there, like for example at the end of major 1, C major 7, C major 7 just means there's a B and a C chord. If you're playing chords, you can just play a C chord. It's fine. The B is going to show up in the melody. That's why they put it there. It sounds better if you play that chord, but you don't have to, because it's going to show up in the melody almost always. And so when you see these jazz chords with all this stuff after them, all that stuff is coming almost always. A lot of that is coming out of the melody, and then they're adding in some extra notes to make it sound cooler, but the bass chord is still the same. And so when you're not sure, you see something that's full of junk afterwards, just know you don't need to do all that. Play the bass chord, you'll be fine. All right. Pick your poison. Let's see how we do. 1, 2, no, slower than that. This is kind of fast in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 18. Victim of the page turn there both times, but other than that, not too bad. I mean, that's like sort of what it sounds like. By next week, I should remember that it's an F chord with a 3 on the top, and then I should be able to beat that page turn. I have my page flipper on here, but I keep forgetting to use it, so we'll see if I can get it right this time. All right, baritone version. How's this going to be for ukulele players? Let's go take a look. All right, baritone. Imagine in the key of G, G chord, C chord. I'm just now realizing almost the first entire page is just G's and C's. Got an E minor in there, A minor in there, D chord, D7. Which D7 do you like to use? You like to use the open one or the bar one? The bar one sounds better. And that's it. That's your only chords. So cool. All right. Imagine on baritone. Let's see how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. brain freeze there, right? You're like, oh, did he create drama there? Was I trying to create drama? No, I just wasn't sure what 7 meant. Okay, hey, so what do we think? Not too bad, huh? LG said nice, which is sweet of her. But those of you who are harmonica players, remember all of this stuff. We haven't tabbed a lot of this stuff for harmonica because this came out way before we were doing harmonica. So here's another chance for you to go through, grab your chromatic harmonica and tab these out, and you would have yet another way to play, right? So good. And always remember, when you're tabbing chromatic harmonica, if you have 2 choices, you want the one closest to C as the piece you use. All right, lovely. Now we have a new tune, sort of, and let's go take a look at it. It's called "In My Life." I want to hold your hand. I need to get rid of this guy because he will confuse me down the road. And this guy, those are the old versions. And let's go take a look at "In My Life." Now, super exciting. So I want to talk a couple of minutes on stuff that you probably couldn't care less about. But I finally solved it. I finally cracked the code on standard notation with ukulele. And here's the secret. If you're looking at the Beatles ukulele version here of "In My Life," and up at the top, there's this note. I'm going to start putting this on all of the sheet music. Notes tabbed on the 4th string will sound an octave higher than notated on high G ukuleles. Now, most of you have high G ukuleles, and that's what you should be playing because they're awesome. Okay, but low G ukulele has one advantage, and that is that the strings are in order from lowest to highest. And when I am filling out a tough uke tablature, I always treat it as if it's a low G ukulele, because what you don't want to do, and I teach all the new arrangers this, almost every one of them goofs it up, is when you're doing if you're doing a scale, C, D, E, F, and they find out there's this G here on a high G ukulele, so they go this G instead of this G, E, A, B, C. Okay, so what they do is they put this one note way out of order, so they go, which is true. That makes the scale, but that's not how you want, as a musician, you don't want this one note randomly out of order of everything else. You want that one. Even though you have to press something down, you want that one. Because that's how your hand works, okay? So I always talk about it, I'm like, don't use melody notes up here on the 4th string. The 4th string is for harmony. In other words, when you play an F chord, you hit this string, it's an A, couple other strings, and then this string, A. So when you're playing a chord, you put notes on the 4th string, but when you're filling out the melody part of a song, you don't use the 4th string. Okay, now there's a couple of exceptions to that. If you're writing for ukulele only for low G, if you have a low G and you're only writing for U, then you can take advantage of the 4 notes here that you don't have on a high G. But you shouldn't probably be arranging for that, because it limits the number of people that can play your arrangement to you and 4 other guys on the planet, right? But that's an exaggeration. A lot of people have low G ukuleles, right? And so they have 4 notes here that we don't have on a high G ukulele. And so if you want to arrange for that, and lots of people do, then all of a sudden the high G players can't play it. Those notes don't exist on their instrument, and so they can't play that arrangement. So I always say, hey man, pretend C's your lowest note and just leave it that way. If they have a low G, they'll be fine playing your high G arrangement, and they'll also have the joy of this extra deep string. Now, all that being said, when I do arrangements, and I thought I'm going to start putting the full arrangement up in the standard notation against my better judgment, because a lot of people really want it, and we get more and more music teachers teaching this program, and they really, really, really need their standard notation, because that's how they've grown up their whole lives. Like, they just have to have it. The problem is when you do that and you have a high G here and you drag it up, all of a sudden this note gets mixed in with whatever else is going on there, and it makes a big mess. And I think we had one arrangement earlier this season where I did that, and it makes all these complicating factors. It's really unpleasant to read. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. However, if you pretend that all ukuleles are low G, then look how nice all of the chords lay out. They look really easy to read. They're all plunked in there just like it's a music theory class, and everything looks so pretty and nice in those blue dots, and you're like, oh, that's what I want. That's what I really, really appreciate that. The problem is it's not true if you're playing a high G ukulele. The problem is if you're playing a high G ukulele, any note that's below middle C is going to come out an octave higher. But the truth is, most you high G players aren't going to care, or they're going to know that that's the case, and it's perfectly fine. It's just much more readable, and instead of a low G coming out here, the high G comes out, and it's really a pretty smart system for people who like to read the standard notation, and they just know in their head, hey, I'm not really playing that low G that it says here in the first measure. I'm playing that G is an octave higher, which if you look at that first chord, you're already playing that note, so you're just doubling up that note, and we don't have to worry about unisons going across. It's all just nice and neat and pretty and just delightful, and I think it's how we're going to do it going forward. I knew this is a lot of the reason why I hadn't done this forever, is because I'm such a high G fanatic that I knew that standard notation just messes up your thinking around high G. But if we pretend it's a low G and just know that those notes are coming out higher, then it's fine. It's also kind of interesting because every single note that you play on baritone is coming out lower than it's notated on the staff. So when you look at baritone notation, when you hit that D, when you hit this note, which we write as the D right above middle C and right below the first clef, the first line on the treble clef. This is actually an octave below that, and it's true of guitar as well. We write it on a treble clef staff, but the entire song comes out an octave below, and that's why on my guitar sheet music you see that octave 8 underneath the treble clef. So there's a lot of nonsense that I'm talking to you about that you probably don't care about, but the 2 or 3 people who do care about it are going to care about it a lot, and they're going to probably say this is a better system. Okay, so if you're playing a high G ukulele and you look at there and you're like, what are all these notes below middle C? I don't even have those. Don't worry about it. It'll come out just fine. And those little those notes will just be an octave higher than they're written. And it's very traditional in fretted instruments. We write on one staff, we play on another staff. Whatever comes out of the instrument comes out. It is what it is. And Alexis says, yeah, this is a better system. So yeah, so that's what you need to know. And then I will just put a note on each piece of sheet music. Notes tabbed on the 4th string will sound an octave higher when played on a high G ukulele. Okay, and I think that should solve our problems. Okay, the only people that is really going to melt their head is people who are committed to the high G, who needed sheet music to be a lot more exact than we generally do. So, okay, thank you guys for putting up with that long explanation. I think what's nice about this is you can really see what the chords are doing in relation to the melody. Like, you can be like, oh, I can see the melody clear as day, and then I can see those chords happening in underneath it. And finally, it's not just a random series of numbers, but I can actually see how the music was working. If you're new to music, this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but if you've been around music a long time and you've played piano, lots of you have had some piano in your background, you're like, oh yeah, I remember my left hand, right? And there it is, just hanging out for you there. So now you can kind of get a sense, if you were a piano player, of here's your left hand, here's your left hand, here's your right hand, and this is what's going on, and it all makes sense, and it's way better on ukulele because is super fun. You can play ukulele with other people. You cannot play piano with other people. Had a friend in an orchestra, and he says, "Oh, we're playing with a pianist again," and he was always bummed out. He says they can't keep time because they never play with anybody. All right, and band people, man, they can play with each other. That's all they do. All right, let's go through this. We'll take our time. We'll talk about everything in it. And then there's only one thing in this entire song that's going to be a bummer, and it's going to happen 500 times, okay? So if you look at this beginning, you've got this nice G chord. You're like, oh, I like that. And then you look what you got. You got to go 2, 3, 5, and then you're going to have to memorize where your 9th fret is. You're just going to have to on this song. It's going to come up 8 billion times. Bar on 9, F shape in front. We've talked about it a lot. If you make an F chord, it looks like this. And then we just got to figure out where the bar goes. In this case, on 9, you got to, am I right? Yeah. And I've got, so bar on 9, F shape in front, and that's a D chord. Okay. So if you counted it up, F, F sharp, and so on, blah, 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 when you get to 9, it's a D chord. Okay. And we could do, if the melody doesn't do what it does in this song, the Beatles are classic for, they were pretty good singers, right? So they would down low, up high, down low, up high. And so now we as ukulele players have to deal with that. So when you get this, you've got this G chord and a lovely triplet. And again, I would not go fast. This is not a song that has to be, with a good beat. And I think it's just slower. Okay. Now, then you got this G chord coming up. We're gonna lift up your ring finger, and then put it back in. Oops, it's a 0 on the top. So just a little bit of be cool about getting your G chord on. Up. You hear that note? It's a wrong note. That's the A on top of a G chord, right? And that's why we love the Beatles, is they keep having all these ridiculous notes that don't belong there, and then they'll fix it in here in just a second. There's where they fix it, right? And then if you have your G chord on, you can reach your 5 up here and then take the other fingers off, and now you have this nice G6 sound with a 5 on the top. Okay, and then quickly put on your G7. Drum, isn't that nice? It just sounds like a completely different chord after a G6. O2, and here's our favorite chord. Now, it's technically a triplet, but I haven't really cared about that much. I really cared only about the slur. And if you haven't been working on those, this is a perfect moment to try this. Open string, put the 2 on, pluck it, and then you're going to pluck it again with this. Okay, so open, 2, pluck, and then that gives you time to get those 3. Now this is a C minor. Okay, again, it sounds super exotic. It's just a plain old C minor, but it's hanging out at this moment right after a C chord, and it's a modified C chord. Sounds really exotic. Okay, though some have changed. I keep finding myself as I'm playing this coming in with my G chord. Middle finger has been hanging out on here, so then I'm stuck with putting my ring and pinky on to get the G chord. So you might want to practice this one just a little bit. You know how I get all stinky about index, middle, ring. Make sure your index is on top. Well, now I'm going to be like, oh shoot, I don't want to take this middle finger off, so I'm just going to add the rest of my fingers on. And I'm going to and I keep ending up in this one, so I thought I'd talk to you about it because it's going to happen probably. You'll be like, oh, I just hit the... Okay, and then you got your G chord, but it works, okay? And then it's going to repeat here. Another chance to do your slur. So it's this main idea, and then it repeats the main idea. Okay, so and it's note for note. There's nothing new there. Here's where things get a little interesting. And now you go to your E minor. This is gonna sound like a punch in the face. Okay, so notice measure 11. You put that E minor on, you don't have to move anything except you'd have to take this index finger off to get to 0. Okay, so E minor, index finger up. Okay, now on the sheet music, you'll see I have slurs written in there, but those are really for the singer. They're not really for you. Okay, places had there. Okay, and you know I can't sing, certainly can't sing slurs, but that's the singer trying to do that. You just play all the notes, right? So I wouldn't even necessarily worry about it. I don't even think you can slur it, right? So just play what's there. Don't worry about the slur in that section. And then you go back to your C. Now notice this is a C chord, but it's really a C major 7. Bum bum. Don't be in a rush. And then, okay, those are. It looks like quarter note, quarter note, quarter. It's not. Let it ring, and then just treat those last 3 as eighth notes. Really, bum bum bum. And then you go on to page 2. There's our famous F chord with the 3 on it. I think the Beatles decided every single page 2 needs to start with an F chord with the 3 on the top. Now it just brightens up. Okay, that's still technically, it looks like an A minor with an A minor 7th with your G here, but it's still really functioning as an F chord with a G in it. Lovers and friends, right? It's like something needs to be resolved, and they'll do it right in here. Though I still can recall. Okay, now next notation thing. The lyrics here are not the same in each verse. Okay, so if it's got parentheses around it, you would play it when the lyrics ask you for it. So on the first line, some are dead and some are, you're going to play the 3-0, and then you're going to play the 2, the 0, the chord, the 3 on top of the chord, and then the 4. So that you're going to, in this case, you are going to play 1 with the parentheses and then none of the other parentheses. The second time you come around, you're not going to play that 3 because the lyrics are nothing. I know I'll often stop and think, right? And in that case, you're going to play all the notes, including the ones in parentheses, just not the first 3, okay? So those parentheses are around a note to say, you should think about whether you need this or not. Now, if I'm playing this just as an instrumental piece, I'm going to play all the notes. I don't care, right? But if I'm working with a singer, or if I'm trying to get it exactly like the lyricist would do it, then I would pay attention to when I play each note, whether it's in parentheses, whether I play it or not. The reason we do this is otherwise we got to put a whole new section of the song and add pages on here. So just by using those parentheses, it says, all right, just use your brain in this one little section, and then I don't got to add in a bunch of pages. Okay. Hopefully that gives you some idea as to, yeah, it's probably worth it, so I don't have to turn the page. All right. And then that section, after you come out of that G, and it's back to that E minor. And you've already done that, so you know how to do it. And then we got a new idea here, an A7 at measure 16. A7 with a B on the top, classic Beatles. Right, so it's really a slur in that if you're singing it. But I'm just going to strum it twice. I tried it with the slur, but then that chord kind of rings. It kind of dies out too soon. So I'm going to just hit it twice. Dun, dun, and let it ring for a minute. Leave that open space, and hit the B again, and then it's nice C7 here. Whoops. Here's a great slur to use. Again, now C minor jumps in like an alien from outer space. Bwang, bang, and then it'll resolve here. Okay, so that's the end of the thought. Okay, now we have this turnaround, and it's the same as up in the beginning. Let it ring. Okay, and really, I put that down strum there to be really clear. Okay, then we go back to the top. Ba-dum. and let's just play from the top so you can have a chance to hear what it goes. From measure 3, go. Whatever am I? I'm really letting that hang out, and then okay, and so then the third time, you're going to go back to number 21. I'm sorry, I should say number 11. Haha, there's a mistake. Don't go to 21. Sorry, the third time you should go there from 21. So I know how to read repeats. I swear I do. So we should have gone all the way to number 20 twice. So the first time you go to 20, you go to number 1. The second time you go to number 20, you go to 11. So I do have that right. Okay. Now, when you go from measure 20 to measure 11, basically you're just wanting to play that that middle section a third time just to make sure you've really dug it in. And I don't remember if the Beatles do the first lyric or the second lyric. I've been playing the second lyric because I like it better. Some are dead and some are living. I don't like that lyric so much, but I know I'll often stop and think about them. I kind of think that's cute, right? So go to number 20 twice. The first time you're at 20, go back to number 1. I'm sorry, number 3. And then the second time you're at number 20, go to number 11. That's where the segno is, okay? And then the last time you come around at measure 19, then you're going to wrap it up with that same sort of the opening theme, right? So if I'm at 19, and then just grab your highlighter, yellow highlighter, right? That's why we bring them to class. And then you just put make sure that you know that the third time that you get there, you're going to go to the bottom measure 21. I do have that right, all the way up to 9 again. And then it's a little bit different here at the end. Too much different there. And here's it. You got to do a thing at the end, right? You think you're done and you're not. And you're like, okay, not done yet. Okay. You're going to go to measure 24. And then you got to put your pinky, you're going to love this. Here's your pinky. It's got to go on 12 of the second string or you will goof this up. Okay, because originally I had 9, 7, 9, and then it was hard. It was just hard to move your hand around. But if you're on 9 and you're in the F shape, just put your pinky up on 12. Okay, and plus you need a chance to play the 12th fret of the second string. How often are you getting any money out of that area? Doesn't that sound cool? Like everybody who heard you play that is going to be like, wow. I tell arrangers all the time, you don't need any of the notes up on 12. They don't. You just don't need those notes. And then here I am. You need this note. And then slide back to 10. Put your pinky up on. Slide back to 7. Put your pinky up on 10. Okay, and that's how we finish it. Okay, so nice, pretty ending to it. What you're finding here is you got a beautiful sounding song. I think it was Elizabeth who originally told me to put this thing together. I don't think I even necessarily knew this song before, but it's just really lovely. And was it you, Elizabeth, that told me to do this? I don't remember how I determined that it should be one of them. But there's once you learn the basic kind of riff to it, it's not really terrible. It's not like some of these others where we have all these finger gyrations to do. The big gyration is this F chord on 9, and then not you, Elizabeth. Okay, I don't know who told me to do it. Okay, I'll give you credit for it. Anyway, that should get you through this week, and should make you like kind of happy that you're playing this. Hey, Johnny, how are you? It sounds great. Good. So we're going to take I Want to Hold Your Hand off the list. We're going to add in, we're going to keep we'll do one more week on Imagine, right? We want to get that one smooth and clean and like you know what you're doing. Christmas will be here before you know it, and that's when we play Imagine. And then, of course, the baritone is exactly the same as the ukulele tablature, just in a different key, lower tonality, and I think you'll really like it. I really struggled with this one, putting it together for some reason, but now that it's done, I'm like, this is super great. This really works. And then, what else was I going to say? The next song that we'll be looking at, let me go take a peek on our list, because I think I'm going to continue to go in order with, let me find the members page. I know how to do this website. I swear to God, it makes sense. People go log in. People call all the time. They're like, your website's too complicated. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's great. It makes perfect sense. And then here I am trying to use the website, and I'm like, kind of complicated. All right. So what we will be doing after done in my life. Oh, it's Let It Be, right? Oh God, Let It Be, right? Their number one song. So I'm going to take a look at that sheet music this week. If you want to peek at it, you can. It always stays in the same key. But I will be putting out much more advanced and clean sheet music over the weekend here. So probably, if you want to look at it, you can. No reason to. Next week we'll cover it in more detail. And I will get you nice, clean, pretty sheet music for that. Oh, you're in a harmonica band. Nice. Harmonicaband.com, Johnny. You are not an interloper. You're welcome here anytime you want. We have, we do a little ukulele around here. Do a little of both. And then I do guitar on Sunday nights. You guys probably know that as well. So the fun one is advanced ukulele. This is the fun one, right? This is the one where I just fall in love with everything we're doing. The one I like teaching the most is beginning ukulele, and the one that I am enduring is guitar, which is really hard, you guys. And then and harmonica, of course, is just fun. So thank you all for being here. I'm glad we could get together finally. I'm sorry I had to take so much time off for illness, but I'm hopeful I'm going to be strong and solid now for a while. I have a little flea or gnat that's floating around in here, so I don't know. I got to go find a way to murder him, and I will see all of you in next Wednesday night, and have a wonderful week. Peace.